What was normal when you were a kid, that is taboo and shunned shocking nowadays. Getting to the airport 15 minutes before your flight, no security lines or strange restrictions on what you could bring. Also, your soap could come to the gate and hang out with you until you got on the plane. Went out to play knowing that I just needed to be back home by the time the street lights came on. Parents just knew I was somewhere in the neighborhood. I always remember around 5-6 o'clock you would start to hear parents shouting out the front door for their kids to come home for dinner. Recently saw Super 8 with my kids. My 13-year-old looks at me and asks if that's how it was, and I ask what? How the kids just roamed around town and people knew each other and their neighbors. I said yes, that's how it was. He proceeded to say that we needed to move to someplace like that. Smart kid, you should keep him. There were no seatbelts in the back seat. Sometimes kids would lay up in the back window on car rides. We were allowed to play out in the woods and in the neighborhood all day until dark. Our parents gave us alcohol at their parties, and at our parties, when we were age 12 and over, our parents didn't hassle the teachers or blame them for not teaching us properly. LOL, I used to go back there to take a nap. Oh, another one. Being able to run around on the playground with your pretend gun aka your thumb finger and shoot your fellow classmates. This zero tolerance bulls is just that, bulls. Zero tolerance equals zero common sense equals zero fairness. When I was 13, I could walk from Canada into the US and back alone, with a plain driver's license, and the border guards barely gave me a second glance. And before someone says the 11th of September changed everything, that was in 2003. My dad taught me to drive when I was 13. I always drove to the dam or him back from the bar if he had too much to drink. This was in rural Africa, so no traffic lights and mostly dirt roads. My parents taught me to drive at the same age on a road trip because they were bored and my dad wanted to take a nap. I live in Oregon. This was 6 years ago. I used to have to babysit my 2-year-old brother for 3 hours each weekday. I was 8. It was pretty common. I also had a dirt bike that I rode alone in the desert, in a 100 square mile area. Also common. Smoking on airplanes, along with steak knives provided with meal, glasses made of glass, being served real food in economy, even on short domestic flights. I used to adore flying as a kid. Now I dread nothing more than to step onto a plane. The terrorists won that one. Playing outside and climbing trees and generally wandering far and wide on estates. Suggest that to kids nowadays and they're amazed that I could entertain myself without a computer. And their parents would be mortified that your mother had no way of contacting you at any given instant during the day. Swearing in kids movies. See also The Goonies, or any other good kids movie from the 80s. Nowadays they have to be so dang whitewashed it's not worth watching. Do you think Labyrinth could be made today exactly as it was in the 80s, including the David Bowie codpiece? That's why I liked Super 8, although I guess it's not a kids movie. The kids talk like kids would and not how parents think kids talk. We used to play lawn darts when I was 8 years old. We didn't even know how to play. We'd just toss them in the air and then try to dodge them. Even as a child I knew this was incredibly dangerous and had no idea why my friends' parents let us play with them. This will instantly pee everyone off. Wearing a shirt with a transformer on it. I was an assistant teacher and had to give a kid attention because the robot's arm also functioned as a gun in the movie, which you really wouldn't think about, because it's a stupid robot. That's a joke, right? Please tell me you're joking. I grew up on a farm. When I was younger, 8ish, I'd go out with a BB or pellet gun and run around all day in the BLM land across the street, or play by the river. We'd go out there in the snow and ice and build fires, chop down trees with axes, all kinds of crap. That land was a former bombing range and we found a couple unexploded mortars, which we assumed were target dummies but could have been nukes. So, when I was older, 11 maybe, I graduated to a .22 rifle, then a handgun when I was 13ish. I'd play in the canal, which was around 25 across and 10 deep, run around and shoot things, build forts. Sometimes my brothers and I even spent the night outside. Number of fricks given by my parents, 0. Our HS had a shooting club. We all brought our rifles and shotguns to school. If we didn't leave them in our cars, we left them in the teacher's room or principal's office. Over lunch we'd run to the hardware store and buy ammo. Keep the boxes in our lockers. At my high school, 2 seniors were suspended for a month and then had ISS for another 2 weeks after that because they had 2 shotgun shells on the floor of their truck after they had gone hunting early that same morning. My father called them road beers. The cooler he kept on the front seat of the station wagon full of cold ones to drink as we sat in the 4th of July traffic every summer without a count. LOL. I remember that. Then it changed to the driver wasn't allowed to be drinking, but passengers could. Then no one at all. When I was really young I could run around naked and people would think it was cute. When I do that now, I just get arrested. And you can't crap in your pants anymore. Oh, the injustice. Lots of things have changed about smoking since I was a kid. There were smoking and non-smoking sections on airplanes and you could still buy cigarettes and occasionally beer out of vending machines in restaurants. And I remember cigar commercials, too. I remember my teachers calling me out on the crap I tried to pull with them, taking away marks when I was late with an assignment, and generally challenging me to try harder without being concerned with how it might affect my self-esteem. As someone who is about to become a teacher and realizing that a lot of this has changed for the coddle the student approach, I worry. I teach college level accounting and have come across the same thing. Poor attendance, poor grades, then requests for extra credit at the end of the term. I say no. Flip out ensues. You had 16 weeks to do work. Don't wait until finals week. Obviously the extra credit system is rampant throughout schools for them to expect this all the time. Only 10 years ago, when I was in high school, the concept of gay marriage, or gay people, for that matter, was utterly alien and strange, and I lived in a wealthy, cosmopolitan area. Now gay marriage is recognized in my state. Also, I remember taking a school trip to Six Flags in Atlanta and there was a Confederacy section with Civil War themed rides, and a restaurant named Plantation Chicken where servers were exclusively African American. That sounds uncomfortable. Going barefoot nearly everywhere. When I would play outside with my friends during the summer I'd almost never wear shoes, and if I was on a road trip with my parents and we stopped at a gas station, I'd almost never put my shoes on to go inside. I carried a knife to school. I was a Boy Scout. I carried one everywhere. Friends would regularly ride their bikes to my house with a shotgun on their back. Grade school admin would have some us stay after school for a few hours to pick up trash around the school as a punishment for acting out in class. Then the grounds would be inspected for so much as a cigarette butt or a gum wrapper and we'd have to do it all over again. We might be a couple of hours late getting home from school. My parents never wondered where I was or worried. They figured I was out with my friends running around or was on trash duty again because I deserved it. The parents in my little world didn't get all up in the school's face for every little thing like they do today. Playing football with a concussion. I'm pretty young so it's weird to see how quickly things have changed. It used to be like playing with a bruised hip. You just kept going. I guess someone realized that significant head injury may impact your health going forward. Getting dirty when doing any fun childhood thing. If I see another parent cover their child in Purell I'm going to lose it. Do you understand what an immune system is and how it gets stronger? Our species is going to die from the common cold one day. I miss the days when being a greedy psychotic moron would send you on a one-way trip to military school instead of getting a reality show. I am certainly no authority on the matter and would definitely defer to the superior judgment of other redditors, but in my opinion, letting your kids go outside to play unsupervised was normal when I was a kid, but I would be very fearful to allow my kids to do so. Walking home from school, having a key for the house, cooking my own dinner, at age 10, being a Boy Scout, and not being abused, bikes without helmets, unsupervised play exploring, far from home, until dark, adventure playgrounds that could conceivably be adventurous, taking a boat out fishing all day, unsupervised, bonfires at home, without a pre-arranged permit. Can you even get permits anymore? I'm 24 years old and the biggest thing that shocks me today is the way children act. K5. They are more disrespectful than I remember, and it seems that parents don't like to punish their children anymore. Boy, I could write a book on things that have changed, but some concise items I can think of offhand would include no helmets or other protective gear worn while riding bikes. I rode my bike around town, unsupervised, rode in the bed of pickups, cap guns that looked like real guns. Teachers would smack you with a ruler if you got uppity. There's plenty of others, but I'll let other people join in on the fun. I am sure this won't be seen by many, but I can recall something from my teenage years. I was a very smart and cocky 15-year-old. So one day I was mouthing off to my mom, and old dad overheard. Well, he interjected with a quick, "Shut the heck up." I kept it up and my dad grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the room. I made the fatal mistake of swinging a fist at my dad. He quickly weaved out of the way and kicked my feet from under me, and I landed on my back. With the wind knocked out of me and fighting back a few tears, he imparted some wisdom on me. "Listen son, I don't care how big you get, you'll never be able to kick my butt, and don't cry, F." I've always wondered what would happen in one of these situations if the kid did manage to drop the parent. Seems like all respect would be gone. Being able to just disappear outside for several hours at a time without my parents freaking the heck out, with no GPS or way of tracking me down without just calling the neighborhood parents to see if I was there. In the summer, we had a field about 6 houses down, before houses were built on the lots, where about 7-8 of us would gather and play in the dirt, catch bugs. And one of the parents would lean out the door and give a shrill whistle when it was time to come in, and we could tell by the tone and pitch whose parent it was. Ah, good times. Everyone who's talking about how parents are so much stricter now, you do realize that it's your generation you're talking about, right? If everything was so great when you were kids, why the frick did you change it? I received a .22 caliber rifle when I was 10. No one ever questioned selling me ammunition or seeing me walking along a road, blazing away at everything in sight. When I was 7, my mother gave me a note to buy a carton of cigarettes for her. No one ever asked for the note. They just sold me the cigarettes. I bought cigarettes for her until I turned 18. I still had the note in my wallet. In all honesty, the idea of a 10-year-old child walking down a residential street happily shooting at things with a .22 is still a little scary to me, only because I didn't mean to. It was an accident. Riding facing backwards in a station wagon. That was the crap. Doesn't exist anymore except in classic cars. I used to pretend to shoot other cars and stuff. Pew pew. I couldn't sit still. I spoke out of turn. I was always changing the topic. I wasn't really focusing on my homework all the time. I got bored easily. I always needed something to do. My parents were smart enough to realize that I was smart and just needed to be challenged and was just exploring the world around me. But these days kids who exhibit these types of behaviors get slapped with ADD or ADHD and get drugs dumped down their throat. It's like no one wants to admit their kid might be a little crazy and would rather have it be some sort of mental challenge. And I turned out just fine. I have great friends, great family, and a great job. Still can't sit in one position in a chair for more than 20 minutes though. When I was young, you could walk up to someone's door and knock on it without informing them ahead of time, to inquire to what they are doing at the moment. I woke up to an alarm, walked to school, and walked home every day. I am currently awaiting a court date for neglect after my son walked to school. Created an account just to post this, because I can't believe nobody else has yet. So many of the responses that appear to resonate with people are things we were able to do as children because we had more freedom to explore, experiment, and interact with the world. Everyone old enough to be on Reddit should agree that when we were growing up we didn't have to hear about terrorism and all its evil plots on a daily basis. Not only did we not hear about it ad nauseum, it was rarely something anybody ever talked about. But now, I dare say it's almost impossible to go through an entire day without being exposed to the word terror in some form. Yet, we've become so conditioned and desensitized to it, we've just come to accept it as part of the normal world we live in today. I find it shocking how this has happened in such a short period of time. Even more shocking is how this has happened even though there isn't an actual terrorist problem in this country. We've been conditioned to believe there is, but there really isn't. So, it would be nice if people stopped living as though it were an omnipresent threat. Let ourselves and our children live free from the irrational fear of terrorism that isn't really there. Oh yeah, and let's have some of the privacy and civil liberty freedoms back that we gave up because of terrorism. We gave those up way too easily. Smoking around kids. All my aunts, uncles and grandparents smoke like chimneys around us. Building fires in the backyard. My parents gave me a pile of wood, some lighter fluid and matches and let me build fires for roasting marshmallows all the time. This would typically happen on weekends over the summer when my parents threw huge parties and everyone got hammered. Walking through my less than savory neighborhood to buy donuts and a paper for my dad on Sunday mornings. This was after my parents got a divorce and my dad moved into a really crappy neighborhood. Rough housing with neighborhood dogs. Fires lit with lighter fluid are for pansies. I make my fires with kindling from the ground up. I am a fire elitist. I remember when they didn't used to do anything about hornets in the jungle gym equipment, and if you got stung you were the dumb boss. My mom used to leave the four of us in the car while she went grocery shopping. It was hot and boring, and the parking lot was full of other kids who had been left in their cars too. Off-campus lunch. We'd be able to walk or drive to the fast food places on our lunchtime. Most schools don't allow that anymore. Kids didn't wear helmets and protective gear for riding bikes or skateboards, unless they were doing some extreme crap on said bike or skateboard. To be fair, helmets are a good idea. To heck with the rest of it, breaking a bone can teach you something about being mortal, but don't freak up your brain in the process. Playing outside, with matchbox cars and a pile of dirt using my imagination, while being told by my mother be home when the streetlights come on. Gasp, the horror. Cartoons like classic Looney Tunes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.